Welcome, everyone. So what is being expressed is what is glaringly, universally obvious. It's so obvious that it is in everywhere, in everything, all at once. Kind of like simultaneously absent, but omnipresent at the same time, completely inescapable, but it's often missed. So obvious that it's impersonal. So obvious that it does not need words or understanding. So when it's so obvious, what's there to talk about? You can actually mute this whole meeting and take off the volume, and it will still be obvious.
Yeah.
It does not need to be understood. It does not need to be heard, because what is obvious is this, for lack of a better term. And what this is indivisible. It can only be divided by words or thoughts. So what's being expressed is that there's nowhere to go. You can't escape this. There's really nothing to know, because knowing or going is just a ping pong of thoughts in this obviousness. Let's just call this obviousness. So the apparent seeking is fictional. It's like a ping pong. It's just going back and forth, trying to find me, trying to lose the me, trying to drop the me, but that's just a game. What's obvious is that this is already complete, whole, indivisible, inescapable, unknowable, but somehow it's also known, not by you, not by personal knowing. This is a landmine that I'm stepping to, but it's so obvious that it does not require you. It does not require a you knowing anything at all. So when it's often discussed is when it's said that it's so obvious, but not to a me. What's obvious is that there is no me, although there's an appearance of a me. That it can't be captured by either any positions or knowing or finding out or figuring out, because it's already obviously free. And in this obviousness, there is this kind of like, so what is obvious? The moment that there's a thought, the moment that there's trying to grasp something that is already freely, already, obviously free, this, and this. And it comes up with words, it comes up with ideas. It's like a ping pong game. It just goes back and forth. It doesn't go really nowhere. So when the ball drops, although there's no ball, I'm just talking in stories. What's obvious is that the going back and forth, trying to seek what this is in everything. It's in the seeking, it's not in the seeking, it's in the sleeping, it's in the awakeness, it's in the meaningful, in the meaninglessness, in everything, with or without thoughts. But it's so obvious and it's so clear, again, that it does not really require any knowing, any understanding. So for something to be universally obvious, obviously it does not need language. Obviously it does not need any spirituality. It does not even need any understanding about non-duality. It's so obvious that if this is seen from an infant or a toddler, it does not need to be expressed or explained over and over again, because it's so clear already. It's already the talking, the listening, the hearing, the missing, the misunderstanding. It's in all of that. So it's always present. It can never be missed. So if it's so obvious, how come I don't get it? Is the question usually that appears. It's so obvious. How come there's still a me that's trying to grasp it? Well, the obvious is that all of this play, it appears in either, feeling that there's a me or feeling that there's no me. It appears in all feelings. It appears in non-feelings. It appears in experience. It appears in non-experience. But let me just express something that's really, really clear here. Without any kind of thoughts, in the absence of thoughts, in the absence of ideas, in the absence of trying to figure out, in deep sleep, in the absence of concepts, just awakeness. What is obvious is that it's always present. What is obvious is that it can never be missed. What is obvious is that it's always here. It's always this. It's infinitely this. And no matter what seems to appear seeking or end of seeking, it's always this. It does not need any awareness. It does not need any kind of contemplation or meditating, because it's always this. It's in the cries, it's in the laughter, it's in the suffering, it's in the pain, it's in the glory, it's in everything. It's obviously in everything and it cannot be missed, but somehow the seeking for what is already obvious, although it's also it, seems to think that there's something missing. Seeking thinks that there's something missing, that something lacking. But what's really obvious is there's never been a lack. There's never been a missing, because these are just ideas. These are just thoughts. These are just a ping pong of thoughts, seemingly trying to figure out something that is so obvious that it does not require any words, any thoughts, any kind of knowing. And there's nothing wrong or right about seeking, but it's just a game. It's a game of hide and seek. It's a game of ping pong of thoughts going back and forth. Is it this? Is it that? Is it there? Is it not this? It's a wishing for something to drop. It's a wishing for something to be liberated. But that only appears in thoughts. The lack, the missing, even the getting, even the dropping are just thoughts. And there's nothing wrong or right about thoughts. But what thoughts are, it's like a mist in a clear lake that's already clear, despite the mist. So somehow the seeking only happens in the mist. Somehow the lack only happens in the mist. But what's obvious is for this mist to appear, there's clarity already. There's already no separation, despite the mist. The mist creates this idea of separation, this idea of lack, this idea of missing. Let's just call the mists words. So the seeking happens in words, in thoughts, in ideas, in knowing, in trying to figure out. When what's being expressed, that there's nothing to figure out, that there's nothing to know, because it's obviously already. There's nothing that needs to drop. There's no me that needs to disappear. What a silly idea. There's no liberation that needs to be happen. There's no dropping away, or there's no insight, or there's no kind of like, there's none of that that's needed. It's already this. What seems to appear here is already there. But the moment when thoughts get in the way of what's something that's universally obvious, the obvious becomes, what do you call that word? There's a mist to it. What's obviously clear already becomes blurry. And the blurriness appears from words that are being held onto, words that becomes belief systems, thoughts and feelings about something that cannot be figured out. So when there's this obviousness and there's a seeming surrender, although no one surrenders, like a white flag that's done seeking. There's nothing to seek. It already is. It's already whole and complete. There is a preference in the story of something to be better than this, but that's just a thought again. That's just another idea. That's just another excuse, another obscuring of what is that is obviously always present. So it tries to deny what is already obvious by seemingly thinking that there's got to be something better than this. There must be a word that can capture this. And it gets caught up in words like awareness or whatever, but they're just words. radical, uncompromising. They're just words. What's being expressed here is so clear and obvious, again, that if I don't speak anymore, it doesn't matter. Although speaking happens because there's a love and passion for speaking about what's something that's clearly, obviously clear. So the apparent seeking is a story or is a fictional appearance of something that's already found. It's found already. It's this already. Hooray already. Hooray. And it does not need a celebration of something that is already obviously ubiquitous, something that's very ordinary, that appears in every single thing all at once. It's so obvious that it is not separate from anything imagined or unimagined, anything that is thought of or not thought of, anything that is felt or not felt, anything at all. It's in everything and nothing. Okay, so if we have any questions about the obviousness, please go ahead. And it's good to be back. I did miss last Friday. It's good to be back in this weekly thing. Question. Veiled. Okay, thank you. Yeah, veiled is a good word. It seems to be a veil that appears as the fogginess of thoughts. Think of thoughts as fogs in something that's already clear, like a mist in a clear lake. Already obvious, already this. It doesn't have to be preferred or not preferred. It's just what is. So whatever appears is always is, no matter what it is. Hi, Emerson. What do you think about love? I don't think about love. What's there to think about? You can also exchange what I'm trying to express. This is obviously unconditional love. Without thinking about it, without trying to figure it out, without trying to assign it to anything. This is obviously unconditional already. Hi, I still get caught up with spirituality. If this is not really spirituality, so what is being talked about and why do people listen to this? There's no point to this. Let's not put any labels to what's being talked about, because what's being expressed here is just the obviousness that does not really even, it's not even non-duality, because non-duality is just a word. Let's try, this is just a suggestion. There's no one trying or not trying, that the comparison between spirituality, non-duality, they're just words. It's kind of like comparing fruits. It doesn't really matter. If it is eternal, what can I only remember since being a child? The seeming, remembrance only appears in thoughts. Without thoughts, like in deep sleep, it's eternal. There's no time, there's no you. And somehow it gets segmented when there's, when someone wakes up from a deep sleep and they're like, okay, the thoughts come in and it tries to remember what you did yesterday or what you have to do later on today or what's happening right now. But in the absence or the collapse of thoughts, it's just infinitely nothing. And that's saying way too much. It's just what is being expressed is the wordless. And you can only navigate through words. So your remembrance of being a child is just a thought that appears at this apparent moment about a history that is made up of words. Thank you for the question. Oh, I'll open up the chat so that everybody can see. Sorry. Lauren. Hey, Lauren. Hello.
Oh,
No snowstorm, huh?
no.
There was supposed to be a snowstorm.
The weather has seemed to be giving a lot of hope lately.
Okay.
Ironic thing to say at this meeting.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk to you for a sec about like I have these moments where all of a sudden it seems like so apparent that I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And it's like just seems almost a very short moment, but it's like, oh yeah, like, and then what resonates is when this message is saying like, this is unknowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Although there's no one that it's being addressed to, seemingly what occurs, or just seemingly because nothing really occurs, is that there is almost like a resonance that really this is nothing. So there's an easiness. It's like in the absence of thoughts, in the absence of ideas, in the absence of concepts, there is this clarity that is seen through, that is unknowable and it can't be known, and there's an easiness to it. It's almost like the one that's trying to know seems to relax a little bit. I don't know if you noticed that. It's like when there's nowhere to go, when there's nothing to know, when there's nothing to be figured out because it's unknown, it almost gives the apparent seeking a little bit of a break, doesn't it? It just creates this, okay, you know what? There's nothing to know.
Yeah, it's as if
And of course, it will boomerang back in trying to know what is the unknowable.
Yeah, there's a bit of a desire to like widen that time frame of
Yeah.
in a way being more like, I guess I want to use words like tapped into or aware of, like that it's unknown, that it's actually there's no context.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So when the
Right?
seeker gets in the way, right? It creates it almost kind of like creates this fuel for the seeking machine to happen. Because it gets in there and it tries to figure out what can't be figured out. It tries to know, it tries to be aware, it tries to grasp it. It wants to grok it of something that is completely unknowable. It tries to figure out what is obvious, but not to the seeker. The seeker is always going to have a lack, or kind of like, how do I get to be aware of this? How do I know this? So it can only operate in thoughts. It only ping pongs back and forth in knowing and not knowing.
Yeah.
And it becomes frustrating, doesn't it? Right? Because there's this, there's nothing to, there's just this, you're just kind of like walking, and there's no thoughts or whatever. And then you're like, how much calories do I burn when I'm walking? Maybe I should walk 2 more hours a day.
Wow.
Maybe I should walk in a faster pace. Maybe I should go uphill.
Oh God.
Then it becomes something rather than just walking happening.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the same as seeking, right? Because there's really there's nothing to seek, right? So the seeking is just maintaining its seekinghood by creating a narrative that there's something lacking, that there's something missing. So it goes back and forth. They're like, well, yesterday was just really clear, it was beautiful, but now it feels foggy.
Yeah, the comparison.
I was resonating, but somehow, it's like it feels not complete anymore. But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. There's the comparison thing. And then what I find seems to be the result of this communication is seeing in a way that things are all level, that there really isn't any thing better than anything else. Because like you said in the introduction, it's whether it's the experience of something that's just an illusion, it's no different than the thing that is said to be experienced. It's all the same. It's all the unknown. But there
Yeah.
is a moment of like, where it's like, I can almost see the fear of confronting the reality that I don't know. And then it just comes back into, oh, like there's something more that I could see, right?
Yeah. Again, that is just in seeker dumb, in the kingdom of seeking, right? It tries to navigate through it.
You're down.
In the seeker ship, you know what I'm saying? It's maintained, right? It becomes a permanent resident in
Right.
seeking dumb,
Yeah. It's a permanent address. Yeah.
Yeah, becomes a permanent resident of array.
Yes.
which is all right. There's nothing wrong or right about it. But when it creates this narrative of comparisons, right? There's got to be something better than this. Yesterday was great, today was not okay. Oh, you know what? I hope this meeting with Emerson clarifies everything, that kind of thing, right? Is as I said, you know what I'm saying? It's this is really bad marketing for this kind of speaking. You can really like mute me and it will be the same. Because it's already done. It's already complete. Whatever it is, it is. Somehow in the story, you know what I'm saying, there has to be almost a constant reminder that, well, it's always this. Even if it appears like groggy and muddy and misty and foggy and whatever, right? Blurry, it's still it.
Yeah.
Because the one that thinks that it's seeing is the mist itself. The mist will only see mist. The illusion will always see illusion. The seeker will only see seeking. So when it's seen that the seeking is just a vapor, a mist, a fog, a mud that appears and disappears on a clear blue sky or a clear lake. So even when it's muddy, so what? I know that didn't answer anything, but but
So
keep them questions, because the questions, I'm saying, are really nothing too. But sometimes in the story, right, it kind of like, okay, you know what? I'm just going around in circles. But there's not even a you going around in circles.
Right.
It's just like a dust, right? They're just kind of like, but there's already this clear sky, and there's this dust or this smoke or mist that goes around, and getting caught up in the swirling and turning of that. It's just dust. It doesn't really mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's always this.
Yeah. And it's nice to be here, and it's nice to see everyone.
Yeah, likewise. As much as I enjoyed my mom's birthday thing, it was a lot of running around. There was some like, you know what? This is the time of my meeting. No, not my meeting, but the apparent meeting. But you know what I mean? Just hanging out. It's almost like it's a safe zone to talk crazy, because this is crazy talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad, when he was my dad took the mic from me, and he was introducing all of his kids. And you know what he said in front of like 100 people, a lot of seniors? My son has a YouTube channel. He's emersonnonduality. I'm like, oh, please, no.
That's it too.
Yeah, that's it too. You're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah.
So what? You obviously are not. You are like, I could never talk to anybody in my life about this. So
Yeah. But there's no one anyway. It's okay.
There is no one. No one's ever seen me. There is no me.
Yeah.
I mean, so
it's just really all an exchange of words in a dream, in a dream world. and everything feels real, but it's not. That's basically it. It's just really simple. It's obviously empty, but it feels so full and alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely a gift, just beyond the mind. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Yes, no exit. Heidi, no exit. There's no outside and there's no inside. There's nothing that can't, this can't be avoided. Heidi. Oh, hi, Heidi.
But yes, here I am. Hi.
Hello.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a
Yeah.
while.
Yes. So I think I'm listening a lot of these talks, and in my case, I think it's I don't have that big idea that there is something to say,
Yeah.
because all what happens in my life in the moment, all is crashing down, all
Yeah.
is changing. I'm just inside of all this, and wherever I wake up a little bit like that, there is just the idea, yes, it is what it is. There is no possibility to change anything. I can make a decide or not. It's not a me that makes something. Everything is really just happening, and the biggest shit is it, the same as the biggest joy is it. And I don't have to choose any of it.
No.
Not the shit and not the happiness. I cannot look for something.
No.
Sometimes this is hard. Sometimes when my thoughts are walking down this street, as I did it before, to think about what could maybe be if I choose this or this, it stops inside of the sentence by starting the thoughts that comes up. It stops in the middle of the thought that tries to walk a little this route as I did it before. There's nothing more.
Beautiful.
And I cannot even say that this is happiness. This is the best point. It is such a neutrality. It's not possible to talk about this. It's not even a feeling. It's nothing. It's a neutrality that's nothing, absolutely nothing. And I cannot even say it's great or it's delicious or it's whatever words I take to me, they are away before I gave them out.
Yes.
If I give them out, they are away.
Yeah, beautiful.
They are dead. All what comes out is dead. This is so.
It is. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
You know what? The moment that you speak, it's like dead flies that come out.
Yeah.
It just falls down. I was reading
yeah.
some of my old poetry that I found, and one of the line that I said, it's like walking on an infinite road of home, singing songs of separation.
Yes. Yeah. And a long time, it was something like I had the idea I am special if I'm doing that, but it isn't like this. It's the other part. It is the thing that makes it suffer.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. This is like in the story. This is kind of like it's really humbling.
Yeah.
It's really humbling. It's nothing special at all. It's almost like it's very It's
and this is one of the biggest reliefs, that there is nothing special.
Yeah.
About me, about someone else, about life, about the universe, about the world. Nothing special. Just
Nothing special.
what it is. Just what it is. Yeah.
I used to, when
And
I was
for all,
when I was a spiritual teacher and a seeker, I used to think that there was something special about me that I have to maintain or uphold or figure out. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, that when I find my enlightenment again, I will be special again, because at one point I felt special and I don't feel. But feeling special, there's also this oppositeness of not special. So if you take away special and not special, it's unthinkable. No words. Yeah.
And you know, one of these really interesting points is sometimes when I go this road along to think about what can I do in the future? It needs to be special to do something. I need a point that I can say to somebody else, this is what I can do. This is what I can do. And all what comes up, I think, yes, I can do this, but do I decide this? No. So then it's away. Okay, nothing special. There's no more special thing. It's just doing what's necessary to do.
Yeah, not even that. It's just whatever seems to appear. It's just whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
It's it's just what is. It's just what is, and what is cannot, something that cannot be known. And that's what's so humble and glorious about it, is because there's just this appearance, but it's not even appearing to anyone.
Yeah,
it's like this grand gesture of nothing.
Yeah,
this empty present for no one.
It's not possible to imagine what emptiness means.
Yeah,
not at all. It's not possible to imagine that.
And then sometimes, you get blown away by the quiet, the silent beauty of everything. And sometimes your jaw drops at the what is kind of like just, oh, I can't believe that's happening. It's just all unbelievable. It's all unbelievable. And it's just this unconditionality of whatever seems to appear is what is, no matter what. It's almost like the commentary is off now, right? There's no more, the commentary doesn't matter because it's just a narrative.
Sometimes
it's just
I try to pick up something, but I start to pick up something and then it goes just one or two sentences and then it blows away again and again, all what I try to pick up and to follow like this. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi.
Great to share that with you, Emerson.
Thank you for sharing. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. There's a question here. I listened to your message and I listened to others as well, but then other desires or lack and feelings of loss takes over. And then I tried to act on that. And if unsuccessful, which is mostly the case, become distraught. Oh, then in the depression, I again turn to these messages. The cycle keeps going. I don't know what to do. I feel dejected and disappointed. If you would like to chat with me on a one-on-one, we can just chat on the phone, right? This communication does not really solve anything, but it illuminates that there's nothing that needs to be solved. This communication is just a description that whatever it is, no matter what you think it is what is. And then when there's this seeing that even in this cyclical appearance of, being successful and unsuccessful, all of the opposites is just a play, not to kind of like not to deny what is happening, because there's no one denying of what's happening. What is being expressed here is that that there's nothing wrong or right about anything. The illumination is that whatever is appearing is what is. So for example, even seeking help in that depression is also what is. Or maybe if we can have a chat, you know what I'm saying? Nothing will be unoffered, but maybe just a hug, you know what I'm saying? That does not mean anything. But if you would like to chat, just message me. We can talk. and just illuminate that nothing is needed. It's already free. Hi, Mary. How are you? Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Okay. So it's the question I have is, Tony talks about this as the me, the identity of the me,
Yeah.
an energetic contraction.
Yeah. Yes.
So I don't know if it's the other side of that, just the way I'm expressing myself. Then there's no me.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess still there is this notion.
Yes.
That energetic contraction needs to drop.
Yeah. Yeah. What if it's expressed to you that there's nothing to drop, that it's already what is?
And you keep saying that, not
Yeah.
you, but nothing keeps saying that.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here just earlier this morning, and it's like just in this just stillness.
Yeah.
I'm looking out the window, and even now, there's just this, beyond everything, there's just this absolute stillness.
Yeah. So in that stillness, there's no me or no me that needs to drop.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
There's no energetic contraction, because these are just words, and Tony clearly, shares this beautifully and everything, right? But sometimes when the words that are being presented are being held personally, that I have to drop something, when it's coming, when in every expression that he does, this is not being addressed to anyone. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it already is.
Yeah. And I keep, in a sense, waking up in the morning, keep saying this, like nothing. You're nothing. There's nothing. Yeah. It's nothing, nothing.
I used to do that too. my mantra was, there's no me, there's no me, there's no me. But by saying that, it reinforces that there is a me.
Yeah.
By saying that this is nothing, it reinforces that there is something.
Right. It's like one of his books, he said once, the only prayer I've eaten in a sense, I've eaten his books 1,000 times, let's say, right?
Yeah.
The only prayer to say is, Lord, let me be nothing for seeing it happen. So in a sense, that's still the identity of a me.
That's still the identity,
asking to be nothing.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
It's tricky, yeah. It's tricky because, of course I'm a fanboy, you know what I'm saying, of Tony, and so what's being expressed is already, it's just being, there's almost kind of like a gatekeeper, you know what I'm saying? Because what's being expressed is really clear, that there's just an energetic contraction, meaning that there's just a perceived contraction of something that doesn't have any boundaries. And energy doesn't have any boundaries. It cannot be contracted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's already still. Right. It's already stillness. So the idea that something has to drop away is like a gatekeeper of something that's already clearly obvious.
So energy itself has no contraction.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I hear that.
It cannot be destroyed. You see it now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can't even, can you transform energy? Can
No.
energy transform? Okay.
No.
It can't even be transformed.
Yeah. What's usually missed in this communication is, in the beginning, there's a disclaimer. Apparently, meaning it's not true. There is an apparent energetic contraction of a me, but that's just a narrative. That's just a story. So if what's being expressed basically is, for lack of better term, is there's already no you. There's already no contraction. It's just this boundless energy. What may appear as a contraction is just a thought.
Or a belief.
Or a belief, yeah. A thought coupled by a belief is a strong, you know what I'm saying? It's a strong rejector of what is. It rejects what is by creating this narrative that, well, the me hasn't dropped yet. So it believes that there was a me that needs to drop, What's being expressed, it's already obviously clear that since there is no me, any talks about the me is irrelevant.
Oh,
Yeah. It's already obvious. It's already stillness. Ta-ra! Hooray!
wow.
It's already what is. What is being longed for is already. What is seemingly missed is appearing as everything.
It's already unconditional love.
It's already unconditional love. Yeah. You don't even need to understand that. Because there's no you to understand that.
Right.
And then trying to understand or trying to grasp it creates, again, this apparent gatekeeper, this apparent contraction. The moment that you think you try to understand, it contracts, right?
Yeah.
But there's no contraction because it's just energy.
So the thoughts are just...
It's just like a mist.
Right. The thoughts are part of the contraction.
Well, it is the contraction. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's nothing wrong with contraction. There's nothing wrong with thoughts. It's just an appearance. It's just what is.
Right.
Yeah. So when it's seen that everything, what is seemingly missed seems to be hidden because it appears in everything. It appears even in thoughts. The silence, the empty, the stillness, the unknowable, the wordless is in everything. Meaning everything is just stillness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And what actually came to me earlier was even the trees. Like I'm looking out the window at the trees are the stillness.
Yeah. If you take away all the words, because words are just made up, right? So if we're talking about simply not to,
yeah,
any word that has ever been uttered is a delusion. We're talking in dream speak. We're talking in illusion language.
Right.
There is really no language. Language is just a made up, a contraction, so to speak, right? It just contracts what is already boundlessly free.
Right.
Or what is already unconditional love, we put into conditional words of either this or that, not this or this.
Right.
So if we wipe out all the words in the history, what is this?
It's nothing. There's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. Not even that, because that's just another word.
Yeah. There's
it's
like, right. Wow. Oh. Oh.
Hooray.
Oh, Emerson, just thank you to nothing, from nothing to nothing.
Nothing was done. So
and yet there's gratitude. Just
gratitude. Thank you. You know what scares me? This is a question. It was a direct message. I'm not going to mention. Feeling pain when I die. Sounds silly, but I have suffered so much I can't deal with the thought of never-ending pain. But that's what it is. It's just a thought, isn't it? There's no such thing as never-ending pain. It just appears as a thought. What is unknowable. We seem to, there's no we, but seekers seem to rely on words as a compass in stillness. In stillness or in deathlessness or death, whatever words might appear, every thought, every idea, every concept, every belief system is irrelevant. It doesn't really exist. It appears as this appearance, like a mist on what's already clearly unknowable. But if you want to talk, we still need to have a one-on-one. I forgot to call you last week. Sorry. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. There's a question here. Only nothing can be everything because has no condition. Something is always limited. So only can be something, but in the end is nothing too, because nothing is excluded. Yes, just much to do about nothing. It's just really nothing. And then there is this seeming ideas about what is, what could be, whatever it is. We're just really playing with words. Sometimes we sink in words. We're swimming with words. We're diving in words, but it's just words. It's just word play. It's like a crossword puzzle. That's basically it. Nothing will be solved because it's just a game. If there is no me, why do I feel a sense of lack? Even if I take out all words, there's physical, mental, emotional lack. I'm going to use the dream analogy here. Like in a nighttime dream, when you're having a vivid dream, it could be heartbreak. You could dream in your nighttime dream that someone died and you wake up crying. Or sometimes when there is pain, it's felt in the dream. What seems to be appearing seems to be real because it's a felt sense reality, but at the same time, it's completely empty. And this is saying way too many words. What seems to be appearing is this perfect illusion of reality, but reality is an illusion, but a very persistent one. So it can appear as physical, mental, emotional lack. But what's being expressed here is that without the absence of thoughts or ideas, when there's deep sleep, none of this exists. It only appears in apparent time. But since time is just another illusion, but a very persistent one, this is timelessness. And timelessness sometimes appears as physical, mental, emotional lack, but only as a dream, not as reality. There's no such thing as reality. There's no such thing as illusion. What is just this stillness that cannot be comprehended, cannot be understood, or cannot be captured. If you would like to talk more about it, please go ahead. Someone said, I'm getting exhausted. Who's getting exhausted? The seeming seeking energy is just a ping pong of thoughts. It's just basically it's a going back and forth on thinking that there is something lacking, but the lack only appears in thoughts. Something is missing is just a narrative that appears as words on trying to describe something that is wordless. So it's looking for meaning in words that are completely meaningless. So sometimes there is an exhaustion in trying to figure out something that will never be figured out because it already is figured out. Not by anyone, but it's already this. Oh, hey, Steve. How are you?
Great.
Steve.
How you doing, Emerson? Good to see you. So I keep coming back to something Mala said a couple weeks ago, which
oh,
I'm
that was
very
beautiful. I
grateful
think
for.
Mala's here. I saw her.
I think so.
Yeah.
Just forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
Just, I mean, and I'm good about really dredging junk up and pondering it and thinking about it and trying to solve it and going back and forth. And then the thought arises, just forget it. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, of course.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Forget about it. It's there's nothing. It's almost like, when people are, when I was a teenager, I worked in a movie theater, and people usually wait at the end of the credits, and I used to hate it. I'm like, okay, the show is over. Come on. I have to clean up, clean up all the popcorn and everything. The credits have run. People are still sitting. The show is over. The show is always over.
Right.
But apparently, apparent seeking wants to look for the sequel, for the third installment, for the series and everything, when it's just a show. So the show is and sometimes people look for the meaning in credits. Who wrote this? Who directed this? When it's just a show, it doesn't really matter. And it tries to find meanings in the end credits, or when it's already done. Yeah, so that's what's being expressed there all the time. It's finished. It's done. Let's go.
Difficulty is there's this need to sort of want to get something. There's a need to but it's forgetting, which is where the peace is, rather than getting. Thanks.
It's like the reason I came up with this Pong thing. There's the early video game called Pong. So the Pong, is a video game that basically had a ball going back and forth, and that's just basically it. That's what thoughts are. It's just like, it's almost like a program, although no one programmed it, of going back and forth here and there, here and there. And it's just seemingly more complex, but it's just a really simple dualistic appearance of ping-ponging back and forth. But it's actually, the whole movement is illusory. It's not even happening.
I think the folks who tune in are really good at that game.
Yeah.
They're very good at that game.
I was really good at that game. I was in expert mode at the end of it, seeking.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Mala's here. Yes, Mala, there's always a breakout room in all of these meetings. So there's this, but go ahead, Mala. Hi, Mala. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Emerson. Hi, Steve.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just want to say that when I totally express myself, I don't know when it was. I didn't feel that I was actually talking. It was like something else was talking. I was aware of the voice, just expressing itself. But it just came out of the sheer frustration and the knowledge that so many human beings on this planet has suffered so much,
Yeah.
And I was so desperate to just say, there isn't really a way, but I was just so desperate to not have anybody suffered what I suffered. I just needed to tell everybody there is nowhere to go.
Yes.
And what I also saw today is, I was listening to Jim Newman today, and
good old Jim.
Good old Jim. And he said something, right, that show me if there's something else, right? Show me.
Yeah.
Can you actually physically show me if there's something else?
Yes.
So and you know what?
This.
There isn't anything else. And the seeker, right, is going around like a little idiot looking for something, right? Running around in a forest where the forest is already apparent it's a forest, and it's looking for a forest.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like which way to the forest? This is the forest.
It's
how do you get there?
Like, it's so funny that this seeking energy, right? Like the beauty of of all of us here, right? There's nothing more beautiful than this. Why do you need to be anywhere else? You don't need to be anywhere else. This is all there is. Anything that's coming up, whatever crap or beauty or making a coffee or cooking your dinner or going to the toilet, having a shower, going to work, driving a car, is all there is.
Mm.
And this seeking energy comes in and say, I can do better than this.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere to go. You can't go anywhere from where you are. So why are you bothering to even try?
Yeah.
It's,
Although there's no one choosing to try or not to.
yeah,
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, I totally get you.
it's just it's the message comes out of pure love, you know. It's just love for my fellow human beings, and I just don't want you to go through this crap pain, because there isn't actually any pain. Because I've endured that pain, I don't want you to go through that pain. You know, I know that doesn't come across as very well, but
No, it's all right.
When you've been suffering from the age of 12 up to the age of 59, 57, 56, but I had moments of beautiful experiences when I was 14. Everything is already here for you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with anything that's here. It's pretty phenomenal. And when you actually try and assess it, you are unable to assess it because there isn't anybody here to assess it. So you just go from, I'm going to say moment to moment, but there isn't a moment to moment.
Yeah.
It's just a continuous thing. And suddenly you will notice, oh my God, my desk has got a grain of wood. Oh my God, the coffee looks so beautiful. Oh my God, that bird flew across the sky in a way I've never seen before. Because you were so busy looking to replace what is already in front of you. You were constantly looking for something to replace what's in front of you. When what's in front of you, there's nothing wrong with what's in front of you. And that's all I'm going to say. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Emerson.
Oh, thank you, Mala. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's quite, when it's seen, although no one sees it, when it's seen that there's no seer or seeing, it's just this wholeness that's happening. When there's no escaping this, they try to escape this by seeking for something better than this, creates this narrative that there's a lack. And thank you for sharing that. The question, oh, sorry, Mary. Hi, Mary. I didn't see your hand up there. Hello. Oh, okay. You just forgot to take off the hand. Okay. All right, no worries. Question here. If this is like a dream, how is that you are aware of it and I am not? Clearly, there are some differences. Something I can do. The big question about how come I can't see that this is, well, there's actually no difference. There's actually no you or me that's seeing this as a dream or not a dream. There's just an expression here of expressing that this is like a dream. It's just an apparent. What is seen or what is obvious is that there's no one doing this, meaning that if it's seen that there is just this appearance, any thoughts that appears or any kind of like idea of this is reality or dream is just a passing thought. It's just a mist of something that's unknowable. It tries to convey stories by basically pointing out the obviousness that this is just like a nighttime dream. Although no one figured it out because there's no one here. And also there's no one there. So really what's happening here is just the thought of thinking that someone figured out something there by comparing what's being expressed here as a thought, as an idea, as words, as something that is better than what seems to be appearing. There's a difference. So what's being expressed is that since this is already what is, there is a seeing. So when it's seen that the one that thinks that they are real or hoping that they're not real, that when that narrative, when that flow of kind of like trying to figure out if this is a dream or trying to be aware is seen as just fantasy. It's just seen as an illusion. It's just seen as something that is just stillness appearing as, you know, a character or an individual. What seems to appear is just anything that is separate, like an individual, is just like a dream. There's nothing that you can do because there's there's no doer. There's no you to do anything or not do anything because it already is what is. It's already completely as it is. So there's nothing to figure out. There's nothing to know of what's simply appearing. It's kind of like, I'll go back into the nighttime dream, right? Is there anything to know or figure out in a nighttime dream? Is there any lessons to be learned there? Is there anything that is there anything that is important? Is there anything that has meaning? What seems to appear, and it's often missed, is that what seems to be appearing now will also collapse. It's like, you know, I was talking to someone and he was trying to figure out what happened the day before. And I'm like, well, you know what?
Thank you, but I don't even
It's
know.
just an appearance. I'm just going to meet
what it
someone
said.
here. Second.
Is
It's
that
just an
even
appearance of
anything?
something that is happening. But like a nighttime dream, everything that seems to happen also collapses into nothing. Meaning it's like a mirage. But no one knows that. But what's just seen is that the one that thinks that knows that is the one that collapses all the time. So the person that's seemingly asking this question thinks that there's a reality to itself by thinking that there's continuity. But if I can suggest that that continuous appearance actually is just an appearance, just a thought, that it's actually not there. It's just appearing to have this continuous appearance, but disappears at night, disappears more than half of the day. So without thought, without any idea, there's no separate individual. Thank you, Lori. So shouldn't one act in ordinary life? What's ordinary life though? Because if I do something, something happens and something improves. What if this is the suggestion that there's no you doing anything to improve or to make things worse? It just happens. There's no control. There's no cause and effect. There's no free will. It's just an appearance. So there might be a thought that there could be something that needs to happen or something that I need to do, or there's something that I can change, but that's just a thought again. So again, if we're just swirling in thoughts about my appearance and my reality, in the absence of thoughts, what's really there? Unknowable peace, peace that cannot be understood, which is always present. And I'm just using words again. That's why I'm adding unknowable before someone tries to figure out what is being expressed here. So what is obvious is that what is being expressed here is that it does not need improvement. It does not need for something to happen to see what this is, because it's always present. What seems to appear as suffering is the fluctuations of the mind, but there's no mind because the mind is just a thought. And what is a thought? It's really nothing. Where does the thought come from? Nowhere. It's just an appearance. So there is just this fluctuation, kind of like a mist. I have this diffuser here, so there's this lovely mist. It's really dry here in the winter. It's just like that. It's just an appearance, just smoke. When you said to Mary that there's only energy, but that is not it either, is it? Again, any words that tries to capture it, that tries to kind of like tries to figure out something like a landing or a position, is just another idea. This cannot be caught in a thought. You can't even call it. It's just all apparent. It's all a suggestion of something that cannot be figured out. Because there's no one that can figure it out, because simply there's no one. Because that would be dualism. The reason it can't be figured out is because it already is. Without any thoughts, without trying to figure out, without even the use of energy, vapor, or whatever, it just simply is. You can call it stillness. You can call it love. You can call it whatever it is. It's just wow. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Laura. It's just wow. It's just the unconditional wow. Wow. Is this even happening? Is this really talking happening? Is something really going on? Who will know? There is just simply no knower, because to know is simply not to. Simply not to means that there's no division. There's no one to know or to unknow. It already is. It's completely as it is already. Oh, thank you. Yes, sometimes I ask that birds are chirping and then it's just a big laughter. Yeah. This is the same as my little puppy making sounds. She makes the most beautiful sounds when she wants to go outside. It's the same as that. It already is complete. And there is a soundtrack that happens. And the soundtrack is just music. But when it becomes a dissertation or trying to figure out what's being said here, then it misses out what is being expressed. It's already completely still. If we take away all the words, it's just stillness. It's just one, simply not two, and not even one or none. It's just simply cannot be figured out. Why do some people then seem to suffer more than others? Is the concept of justice just a thought? So there's this apparent reality that is very persistent, but it's an illusion. It feels absolutely real. There's going to be apparent others that's seemingly suffering more than others, but there's only one perceiver, and that perceiver is you, whoever's listening to this. But this is not addressing you because you don't really exist. Meaning that that singular perception is also illusory. It's not just, just one perceiver, but there's also no perceiver. So meaning that everything that is seemingly bought as reality, again, this is not trying to deny anything or not trying to even accept anything. What is simply appearing as this real felt sense reality, but there's also no reality. It's just what is. Justice is kind of funny. I think I was talking to Steve one time about this, that there is this machine that seemingly have, this is a repeat, seemingly can figure out if there is, what you're going to choose to prove that there's no free will or choice. So for example, if you choose coffee or, tea, it would figure out. So you could put this, in the future, and this is just a story, there's no future. You can put this on an app on your phone and you can show to a judge, look, I didn't do anything. There's no one that did this. According to this machine, you know what I'm saying? I didn't do anything. But since this is a dualistic, persistent illusion of dualism, although there's no such thing because it's an illusion, it's going to be a dualistic play of what is. There's always going to be good or bad, you or me, sun or night, day or nighttime dream. But it's all the same. And the one that thinks it's not the same is the perceiver, the one that perceives that this is not real or this is real, but that perceiver is also not real. So it perceives reality and is just really kind of like, it's kind of like when you're dreaming at night. You could be dreaming of flying, riding a magical seahorse, on a cloud of marshmallows, and you would not question that reality. The moment that you wake up, you're like, okay, none of that is real. I was not really, flying with a seahorse in a cloud of marshmallows. It's just a dream. This is the same. So everything that is perceived here, time, space, solidity, is also an appearance that feels absolutely real. But since this is a dream of reality, for example, I was talking to someone earlier, if the house, all of a sudden smokes, it's on fire, I'm not going to say it's not really happening. You know what? No one's going to, this is not really happening. Surely the character will get out of the house and call the fire department and call the fire truck, It's not going to say, but like in a dream, that is just another illusion. For example, in a dream at night, I don't know if anyone has experienced this. The moment that you think you die, you wake up. There's always a cliffhanger, meaning that there's no such thing as an ending or a position because there was no beginning. There is this persistent illusion that there was a beginning, and it creates this narrative of an ending, and it creates a narrative of a lack or a fullness, a wrong or a right. And it goes into this rabbit hole of knowing, trying to figure out something that cannot be known, because it will only figure out what the dream is. Once it's seen that it's all a dream, meaning that it's the unreal and real simultaneously happening, there's nothing to do anymore. Because there's no one doing any of this. There's no one that's going to figure out any of this. Because it's just a dream. So you just, simply walk down the street and you sing, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. What is stopping me from waking up from this dream or whatever is that happened to you? There's nothing stopping you because there's no you. In the story, what's stopping you is the thinking that there's a you that needs to wake up. In the narrative, in the seeking fantasy story, the narrative and the fiction, there's a seeking that's happening. But when it's seen that, there is just awakeness, that you were never asleep, because there's no you that went to sleep that needs to wake up. It's already awake. And that awakeness is not an idea of what awakeness is. It's what is being expressed earlier in my intro, that the obvious is that this is omnipresent, not as an idea before you think of a source or God, none of that, because it can't be thought about, but it's always present. It's this unknowable mystery that is never gone, that is always appearing in everything that seemingly is not real, but feels real. It will never be known because the one that's trying to know it is not happening. So let's just say that there's always this stillness in the backdrop of what seems to be a chaotic suffering, finding, all this kind of stuff that's happening. But the finding, the seeking is just vapor. It's just an appearance. The moment it appears, it disappears. It's just a thought. It's just a fog. It's just a mist. And this stillness that cannot be known is always what is. So it does not need to awake because it already is, whatever it is. That does not need any knowing. So there's this narrative of trying to figure out and everything. That's the mist. The mist does not need to be real because it's not real. It appears real, but it's just a mist. And nothing happened here. There's always been stillness. It's just as, like, okay, there was this confusion or delusion that I am the mist, that the mist needs to wake up. that the smoke needs to awaken. But since it's just a smoke awaken, it's just obscures what is already awakeness or aliveness that does not need to change because it's changeless. So there's just a focusing on something that is moving, and it's missing the unmoving, which is what is. So it gets caught up in this dualistic thinking that how do I find stillness? It's already still. How do I find peace? It's already peace. How do I find love? It's already love. It's just what is appearing as whatever it is. But the moment that the thought or the gatekeeper or the narrator or the storyteller basically captures that and says, well, that's not it. It rejects what is by creating a narrative of what should be. So it appears as whatever it is. It can appear as pain. It can appear as joyfulness. Since there's no one rejecting or accepting it, it just flows as it is. And whatever is that cannot be captured in words or concepts or ideas will be whatever it is without any boundaries, without dualism. It might appear as dualistic. Someone will say that, well, how come I'm in pain? But that's not who you are. How come I'm missing it? Well, that's not who you are. It's getting focused again on it will just go in circles. It will just keep on going in a circular. It's just a circular, seeking is just circular when it's seen that that movement is just an appearance. It's the same thing as yawning or blinking eyes. It just appears, but there's no one doing it. It's like when you don't even notice that your eyes blink 10,000 times because there's no one doing it. Or how your heart beats, I don't know how many times. No one's doing any of this. And the thinking that there's someone that you are doing some of this is just a thought. It's a very persistent thought, though. There's nothing wrong or right about that because right or wrong is just a thought. It's just what is. It's appearing as whatever it is. Try to understand builds a button in the line. Yeah, there's no understanding this. And then that's not being kind of like, that this is just elite or something. It's actually just saying that it does not need any intelligence. It does not need any wisdom. It does not even need anything at all. It does not need words. That's how simple it is. It's like when you wake up in the morning after kind of like a really vivid dream and there's clarity and everything that you thought was real slowly vanishes like vapor. And then the next dream starts again called the daydream. And you're like, oh, I have to make some coffee and cook some whatever, breakfast. And there's just this continuous appearance of something that seems real, but is not real at the same time. It just thinks that there is this reality now in the morning, and it doesn't question it. I really enjoy these talks. It's really clear. Thank you so much. What's that? Sorry. Can you talk about clarity? You can't really talk about clarity because it already is. Talking about clarity just muddies it, creates this idea of what clarity is. It already is without words. The moment that words appear, it obscures what is clear. So clarity is what is appearing no matter what. How do I get your backgrounds? Can you send us a file? Yeah, sure. It's just the image. Yeah. I can send it. Yeah, of course. Just email me. So you don't build elaborate sets for your meal. No. Hi, Emerson, is there a breakout room? Yes, there's always a breakout room in these meetings, right? Yeah. The breakout room basically is where, it's just people can hang out, I guess, and talk about nothing. Are you able to really see this as an illusion? Because everything seems so real to me, it's impossible to comprehend. Yes, it is. There's really no one here that sees. So that's where we'll start, right? There's really no individual here, because individual is just a thought. That there's also nothing special about that. It's not a special attainment or anything. It's just, there's just seen that in the absence of thoughts, words, concepts, meanings, spirituality, ideas, it's just this. These words are coming automatically. There's no one choosing to do it, because the seeming thinking that these words are thought is just another thought. So it just sees things directly, that there's no opposites, that there's no separation. And it's not a special attainment. It's always this way. There just seems to be a delusion that they're separate. And that delusion is basically backed up by a belief system made up of words and thoughts, thinking that there's separation. And it has special words like truth or source or all of that, which seemingly holds back the seeing of what is already complete, what is already free. It sees restrictions, it sees lacks, it sees that, but all it sees are words that are made meaningful. When it's seen that there is really no meaning, and that doesn't sound great, there's liberation, but not for anyone. It's just freedom, which is unconditional. So whatever seems to appear, it could be dancing, wild, whatever, walking on a, it's just an appearance. There's nothing that's more holy or less or more. It's just what is. So if what is appears as stomach pain or allergies, that's what is. Or it appears as devouring a box of cinnamon rolls, that's also what is. And then maybe after, there's a stomach pain because of that. That's what is. And also going for like a long bike ride, or, it's also what is. Or being lazy, sitting on a sofa is just what is. So there's no more trying to figure out what is, or trying to navigate something that does not have any destination. It's just what is. I use that analogy of kind of like your entire life, you're thinking that you're driving a car, and you either have to be a good driver or a bad driver, or no directions, when the car is an automatic Tesla that just drives by itself. No one's driving. It can't be comprehended because it's already obvious. Without thoughts or ideas, is this even real? Because real is just a thought. Is this even happening? Is this really going on? Is what you're really seeing true? Is what you're hearing even audible? Is this just all a trick? Is there really separation when you take all the words out? Is this really just stillness appearing like dynamic, like movement? But even if you take the word movement and stillness, what is this? So it appears that as long as there is me, there will be an illusion that seems to be the root illusion. So I should unravel this me. How if you did? You did the unraveling. It's kind of funny. I like these questions because it's like, I know that there's no me there, but how did you get there? There's nothing to unravel. There's this, what seems to appear, and it is just a trick sometimes, it's almost like there's a trance, and this is just a story, right? That there is a you that's moving through time and space. Because there's a feeling of moving through time and space. Like, for example, if you hold this cup, there's a separateness to it. Or there's a centralized idea that, that I am separate and everything. But what if all of that ideas is just a dream? What if you are dreaming right now? There's no you, but you is the dream itself. But there's no dreamer. What if this is all a dream? Everything is a dream. That's a dream. That's a dream. That's a dream. This is empty. This is empty. What if we take all the narrative, yank out all the words, and just replace it with one word, whatever word it is? Will there be separation? Will there be an unraveling? Will it be an illusion? Will it be whatever it is? But since this is wordless, there seems to be a labeling of this is an illusion, this is a dream. What if everything is already as it is? And the only reason that it's not seen as it is, or not seen as aliveness, is because we use words. What if the one that's using words is just an illusion? So the words are completely irrelevant. It already is. Okay. All right. Someone's asking if we're going to have a breakout room soon. Well, thank you so much, everyone. That was lovely. There's a breakout room right after. We'll see you again on Friday. And if you want to talk, if you want to chat, just message me. I have a freer schedule. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Emerson.
Bye. Thanks, Emerson.
I'll open the breakout room right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Mm.
Oh, record.